Hey folks, welcome to Unqualified, the fantasy football podcast that's been seeing the positive side of things since 2017. I'm your producer Rob Diesendorf here with Sean Brady and Scott Johnson, two fantasy football rivals that have been sabotaging each other for years, but they decided to come together to help you win your league and see the good things in life. How's it going, fellas?
You know what, Rob? Some people see the glass half empty. Some see it half full. I'm just happy that we have some nice glassware to drink out of. So that's how wholesome we are today.
Wow. That was
a wholesome
good
riddle.
Joke. I saw the good in your joke there. That was very good. I like that.
So today is a special episode, right, Scott?
Yeah, it is. So, friend of the pod, Taylor Holloran, is going to be on in a little bit. He has a podcast called For Goodness Sake. So we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But basically, amazing podcast. If you haven't listened to it, it releases every Monday, and it's all about the good things out there, the good things happening in life. There's a lot of bad news out there, and he tries to spin everything and find the positive,
which we're not all that good at.
Not in fantasy.
Let's get to some mascot mayhem and death and murder. On
that note,
we're down to an Elite Eight, and mostly I would say there's some good news here because a lot of our hometown favorites have made it to the next round. Scott, you want to give us the results of this Sweet 16 matchups for our food mascot death match tournament?
Absolutely. I would love to. So, first matchup we had was number 1 Green Giant versus number 5 Frito Bandito. This was a landslide, but again, we are kind of in agreement the Green Giant is a little overrated. 34 votes for Green Giant, 8 for Frito Bandito. That was a landslide.
All right.
Yeah, he's still in it.
Yeah.
I'm still lukewarm on Frito Bandito. Where was he all these years, you know?
It's just an older one. Yeah, man. Do we think KFC, Colonel Sanders, would have done better against Green Giant?
Yes.
Like slightly better or like win?
Like he would have won. I think he would have won.
KFC?
I mean, he's a colonel, for God's sake.
He is the colonel.
He's been in the military at some point.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Green Giant, like, you're next, dude. Next one we had was, this is a big one. Number 3, Ronald McDonald. Number 2, Burger King.
This was the marquee matchup.
Yeah, marquee matchup. Early matchup for these two. It's like Kentucky-Kansas meeting before the Final Four or something like that, but kind of close, not really. 16 votes for Ronald McDonald, 28 for Burger King. Our boys is through.
Business as usual. I mean, this guy is just he's rolling along. And
yeah,
that's it.
I have no reaction because this is exactly as I would expect.
Completely agree.
He is who we thought he was, and he does what we expected him to do, which is dispatch enemies with ease. That's it.
He continues to deliver.
Love that. Now, he's facing Green Giant next round, correct?
It's over.
1 and 2 seed.
Big tree fall hard.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. People think the Green Giant is just some freak, and I feel like he's going to dispatch Burger King next round for some reason. I'm going to vote for Burger King, but
if the Green Giant survives this matchup, then I might start to come around because that would be a resume building win for him. But
that's true.
I'm still taking the BK King all day.
Same.
Yeah, I agree.
No faith in the Green Giant.
Nope. Next matchup we had was number 1 Kool-Aid Man. This is a different bracket. Number 1 Kool-Aid Man. Number 4 Chick-fil-A Cow. Chick-fil-A Cow got dismembered in this matchup. 33 votes, Kool-Aid Man, 11 for Chick-fil-A Cow.
Chick-fil-A Cow had no business getting past Uncle Ben last week. Uncle Ben versus Kool-Aid Man would have been a much better matchup. And Kool-Aid Man is another one of those like heavy favorites in this tournament.
Completely
I'm glad
agree.
that the people righted this wrong.
He's a correct number 1 seed. Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
Like, he's a strong number 1. Green Giant is a wobbly number 1 here.
Oh, but yeah.
I agree about, I don't know. I agree about Uncle Ben somehow losing to Chick-fil-A Cow. It doesn't make any sense to me. Next one we had was Nesquik Rabbit, number 6, and number 7, Lucky Charms. Nesquik Rabbit kind of squeaking along here. It's 26 votes to 19 for Lucky Charms. Beat Lucky Charms.
Yeah, congrats. You get to lose to the Kool-Aid Man in the next round.
Exactly.
That's your prize.
I know I already made this point, but again, I think that the Nesquik Rabbit is winning off of pure cool factor. People think this rabbit is cool. The Lucky Charms guy, not cool at all. Nothing. No, there's not more to say about it. That's just what it is, and it's true.
I don't even think he's cool though. Like Trix Rabbit,
He's cool.
Fuck Lucky Charms up. I don't think he's cool. Nesquik Rabbit.
He's a cool dude.
Okay. Agree to disagree. Next one we had was number 1, Tony the Tiger. Number 4, Aunt Jemima. What do we think here? What do we think happened?
This was tough. This was controversial for me personally. Like internally, I didn't know who to vote for.
Yeah.
I was going through the story and I froze on this one for like at least a minute. Just thinking of all the iterations of this fight. Like honestly, this one kind of depends on where the fight is taking place. Because I feel like Aunt Jemima has a strong southern contingent. And you know what? She didn't even really need it because she got through to the next round.
She did. 24 votes to 20. Tony the Tiger, number 1 seed, out. I don't know.
In the end, I feel like that was the right choice.
Yeah,
I did vote for Jemima.
So did I.
I voted for... I don't remember. Well, let me see what her round 1 matchup was really quick, because I forget now.
She's a family woman.
She was against Snap Crackle Pop. Oh, yeah, that was yeah. And then Tony the Tiger had an easy round 1 matchup. He had the Gerber baby, so yeah, I get it.
Very underwhelming tournament for Tony the Tiger. Beats the Gerber baby and then loses.
Loses to a 4 seed. I voted for Tony the Tiger. I just looked at it. Next one we had 3 more matchups. We had the number 6 Keebler Elves and number 2 Paul Newman. Very shaky here. Painfully close. 47% to 53%. Paul Newman just squeaked by. 24 votes to 21.
He deserved it.
Over the Keebler Elves.
I think this is Paul Newman is like the Italy in the World Cup situation here, where he looks a little bit shaky in the early rounds, but he gets through, and that's all that matters at the end of the day, because I think him versus Jemima, human on human battle here, that's going to be a very interesting one in the next round.
That is I didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's really interesting. People are sleeping on Paul Newman here.
I am not. I've been pro Paul this entire time. I've warned everyone of his power, and it's coming through. You'll see. Just like Uncle Ben deriving all of his strength from his massive forearms.
From the
Paul
rice.
Newman.
It's all
I feel like
chin.
Paul Newman's got a lot of power in his chin.
Is it the chin or
is it the hair?
The hair. I think it's the hair for sure.
I think it's the chin hair combo.
He's got beautiful locks.
Feathered and
He not only
lethal.
has a chin, he has hair.
He has thick hair.
He has both.
All right. Next one. Last bracket. I kind of want to go over more of these matches. We didn't have as many, obviously. And we didn't have as many as I wanted. Number 1, Captain Crunch versus number 4, M&M's. Now, keep in mind, M&M's, this is a revenge game. Well, not really, but M&M's beat Mr. Peanut in the last matchup, which was a travesty. Absolute travesty. Captain Crunch, 28 votes. M&M's, 15.
I mean, look, Captain Crunch is a real contender here.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the same amount of love as some of the other big names out there, but I mean, the guy kind of like Colonel Sanders, who's unfortunately no longer in the tournament. Captain Crunch is a captain, and he
seems like kind of a doofus to me.
I am the captain now. Yeah, I can see the
I kind of
doofus
agree
thing.
though.
Do you think he's strong? I don't think he's strong. I think he's just like
I don't think so.
smiley, like weirdly. He smiles weirdly at every chance he can. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter because his matchup, he has maybe the worst like matchup nightmare for him coming up in our next matchup that we go through. Like it's just he's got no hope. But I will say hats off because he made it farther than I thought.
Yeah, thank God he dispatched Cheezosaurus Rex, number 2 seed,
Oh, yeah.
with 18 votes. Cheetos Cheetah Baby, 24 votes, number 3 seed. That was a little close for comfort there, 57% to 43%. But like, come on, like who's Cheezosaurus Rex over Cheetos guy?
I'm looking at the long
I feel like
game
that was
here.
clear cut.
The long game. I think this Cheetos Cheetah is going to make it to the finals. Like the actual
Finals.
He gets Captain Crunch this week.
Yeah.
He gets the winner of the human battle that we just discussed.
Yeah.
Where he's probably going to be a favorite. And then he's in the finals. So I think that's
I could see.
like if you're betting, I mean maybe next year or the next time we run this tournament, we should open up our own sports book and get people to gamble on this. But
I love that.
I would bet my money on him making the finals.
I could see Cheetos against BK for sure.
Honestly,
That
what
feels
I can see
right.
more, I want the BK. I want Burger King to go too, but I can see Cheetos Kool-Aid. in the finals.
Ooh, like the ultimate like after school snack special right there.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
man, there's going to be some heartbreak later on in this bracket.
Well, thanks for voting, you cuties, and Thursday, tune in for this is the quarterfinals.
Oh yeah, this is the Elite Eight.
Stay tuned.
I mean, it sucks. We're gonna have to say goodbye. You know, some of you are already saying goodbye to some of your favorites. My brother Connor said that we were sleeping on Ronald McDonald and his quote unquote Heath Ledger Joker edge. But look, he was always going to lose to Burger King. We're probably going to say goodbye to some of our favorites in the next week or 2 weeks. So I'm just mentally prepping myself for that. Just like you're probably mentally prepping yourself for life without Patrick Mahomes if you're a Chiefs fan, a fantasy owner, or if you own any fantasy player on the Chiefs. By far the biggest NFL injury news of the year so far. Scott, what are we doing with Pat Mahomes here? This sucks.
It sucks. I think the positive to look on the positive side, like for goodness sake, the positive spin here is that it looks like he's going to be out for about 3 weeks. So it's not horrible. It's not ideal though. Matt Moore, the 35-year-old backup who came in at the preseason because their other Chad Henne, I think, broke his hand or broke his ankle this year. It doesn't instill any confidence in Tyreek Hill, who got lucky on the 57-yard scamper. Not really lucky. He just made a really good play. That's not sustainable. Travis Kelce, he should have the same value because he's going to, Matt Moore's going to need a check down. But the running game sucks. It sucked all year. Damian Williams is one of the worst bust picks, which we both kind of called coming into the season. That's tough. I mean, you got to play Tyreek Hill and you got to play Kelce, but I don't think you play anyone else on this team for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would say it's a rough week for injuries overall. We got your guy Will Fuller. We're going to table that. We'll get to him later, Scott. We'll give you the proper forum.
I don't want to hear that goddamn name.
We will give you the proper forum to sound off in a little bit. But Will Fuller got hurt. Delaney Walker got hurt. I mean, that's the age-old story there. David Johnson, we'll talk about that down the line a little bit, but it looks a little weird there. I mean, Chase Edmonds went off. Kerryon Johnson, Evan Ingram. Down the stretch, guys are going to get hurt. That's why when we get all the way down to Friday's episode and we talk about dumpster diving, it's handcuff season. I'm gonna say this just sporadically throughout the podcast. Go pick up the handcuff for your first or second round running back immediately because guys are dropping left and right. So a lot of people got hurt in week 7. More injuries coming, unfortunately, but there is some good news, Scott. Guys that went off in week 7. Who are those?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. 45 points in standard leagues, 5 touchdowns through the air, 400-plus yards, rushing touchdown, and he did it all without his number one target, Devontae Adams, looking really good. Chase Edmonds. The reason I mentioned Dalvin Cook is because consistently, every single week he's doing it this year. And that's incredible. That's a huge storyline because he's struggled to stay healthy consistently. Chase Edmonds, don't get me started on that. I have him on 3 teams, and I played David Johnson in 2 of them. Latavius Murray,
my
handcuff guy.
I'm back in on Latavius.
Yeah, every single last 2-3 weeks, it's been, hey, pick up your handcuffs. Marvin Jones, 4 touchdowns, 10 catches, 97 yards, and Hunter Henry.
Marvin Jones, quick story. I was watching Red Zone with my brothers, and he had 2 touchdowns in no time, Marvin. He's on in my flex spot in the Hoboken League. He drops a touchdown.
Yeah.
it was going to be his third touchdown. I was pissed off about it, but they were like, you have no right to be pissed off. He has 2 already. And then he immediately caught his third one on like the next play.
Yeah.
And then like about half an hour later caught the fourth, and I stood up and started raising my arms and just walking around in glory because he went nuts this week. I'm very excited about that. And he's like outperforming some of these guys you probably picked in the second round, like Juju, Odell, obviously Antonio Brown, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, who I know is playing well, but is so up and down. Like, second round picks this year are brutal. I think
so bad.
And the biggest thing here that I'm reminded of, because it's never too early to start taking stock of like what to keep in mind for next year. Like, these mid round picks are so crucial. Like, if you picked Chris Godwin instead of picking Devontae Freeman, for example, you are like sitting pretty. And it's all about nailing those mid round picks. I mean, and obviously you got to nail your second round pick, but it doesn't look like that's very possible this year, Scott. Who else did I leave off that list of like guys that are killing you in the second round?
Honestly, not many. So like, yeah, you said it. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce are, fine this year, but not to their standards. Antonio Brown, Juju, Joe Mixon, Odell, Beckham, Todd Gurley, Mike Evans. The only guy in the second round that when I was looking into it that is a solid pick was Dalvin Cook.
And Chubb. Yep, those two.
And Chubb. Yeah, and it remains to be seen what Kareem Hunt's going to do when he comes back in 3 weeks. So, I don't know, man. Mid-round picks and waiver wire.
Hell yeah. Let's get to some wholesome goodness, because we just can't spend 5 minutes talking about fantasy football without getting into a bummer. So let's get out of it real quick with Taylor Holloran.
For goodness sake. All right, we got a special guest this week for Week 7 recap, Week 8 preview. Buddy of mine, Taylor Holloran. What's up, dude? What's going on?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's going on?
How are you? Thanks for joining.
I'm great. Yeah, thrilled to be on the show. Thrilled to be chatting with you guys today.
Yeah.
He's extremely in New Zealand.
Yes.
Extremely.
Live from Wellington, New Zealand.
The Kiwi.
Wellington. I got to be honest, when you said
Tuesday.
Wellington, I thought it was like England. It sounds like an English city.
Yeah, very England
Welsh.
name. No.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah,
Well, we're in
you're
English
in
protectorate.
You're in New Zealand right now. So we're recording
Yes,
this
I am.
Monday night, 8:30 Eastern time, and it's Tuesday afternoon the next day,
Yeah.
1:30 p.m.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
they play-
recording this from the future.
Do they play football in New Zealand at all?
No, rugby,
Just rugby.
man.
Rugby.
All
Rugby's
Blacks in the
their main
semifinals of
thing.
the World Cup this weekend.
Oh.
Watch out for it.
I love the All Blacks.
Yeah, England, Scotland.
Oh,
Big deal.
Who are you pulling for?
Dude, what? It's a dumb question.
Sorry, that's stupid.
Pulling for New Zealand, man.
Stupid question.
The All Blacks, right?
Oh man,
Yeah.
I need to
The
cop a
All Blacks.
jersey. I need to get an All Blacks jersey, because that's like one of the most
they're sweet.
epic kits in all of sports.
They are epic.
Yeah, with the silver ferns.
Oh yeah.
They're sharp. They're a sharp uniform.
So Taylor, to all the you kiddies out there, Taylor has a podcast called For Goodness Sake. I'll let him introduce it and talk about it a little bit, but we're really psyched to have him on the show. Taylor, you want to tell us a little bit about the podcast? How long you've been doing it? What got you into it? And what the show's all about?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months now. We're on the 22nd episode, so we're chugging along. I basically started it because I'm an over consumer of the news, and I've sort of noticed how much it brings me down. Right? Like the news just has always bummed me out, and it's frustrating to me because I know that there's a lot of bad news in the world, and I know it's important to stay informed, but there's like tons of good stuff that happens all the time too. But since it doesn't get a lot of clicks, it doesn't get a lot of readership, it doesn't get covered. So I wanted to create my own platform where I can report all the good stuff that happens and just sort of force myself to look at the world optimistically and find like the good news that's out there all the time. So that's been my once a week project for the last few months.
Love it, man. And you release every Monday, right?
Every Monday morning it'll be up. I release them like 5 a.m. So yeah, for goodness sake, you can find it anywhere. It's all over the place, anywhere you get your podcasts. And I like to think it's just a killer way to start your week off with some hope. some happiness.
I love that. We are here, especially here at UQ, starving for some good news. We actually,
Especially me.
we pivoted to I don't know if you're familiar with our mascot death match, food mascot tournament. Okay, good.
I am.
Because I think we all came together, us three, and we said we need to do something to keep our sanity here. So I think, for goodness sake, might be a little bit more of a wholesome way to spend our time and get on the right track. So I'm in. Let's fucking
All right,
let's get this
all
shit
right.
going.
I'm all in.
I love it.
I'm all in.
He even tells you the weather. I did listen.
Look at that. And
Yeah,
it's,
that's my
it's always
signature
beautiful
hook.
somewhere. Or what's the
Hell yeah.
phrase there? Yeah, it's 75
Yeah.
degrees in Wellington.
Normally somewhere in Southeast Asia.
Love it.
It's normally always beautiful somewhere in Southeast
Wherever
Asia.
you are.
But
So let's say, what weather do you report? Is it where you are, or like are you
no,
reporting?
so there's a website that lists like the 500 most populous cities in the world and what their current weather is. So every
So
day
you do-
it's 75 degrees and sunny somewhere, and I just try to pick a city that's not like super controversial.
Wow.
I love that.
I dig
Like sometimes it'll be 75 degrees and sunny in Syria. I'm like,
maybe not today.
Better
maybe not today. I don't know.
Although that's good news coming out of Syria, though. So maybe,
Yeah, at least the weather sometimes.
yeah, every now and then.
If nothing else, if absolutely nothing else is nice.
Well, honestly, the show is awesome. So everyone out there, subscribe, like, comment, give a review. It's called For Goodness Sake with an apostrophe after the second S, which
Yeah,
I always-
I'm
I never
also a
Can they
writer,
find
so I
you-
nailed the punctuation on that.
you crushed it.
Where
dude.
can they find you in the channels, social media?
Social media, you can find me on Instagram at FGS_Radio Rascal.
Love that.
I'm right there. You'll find me.
Boom.
I'm not super active yet. That's not my forte, but I'm working on it.
Hey,
It all
trying.
counts. It all counts.
It all takes some time. We were slow on the Instagram at first, and now we're hosting tremendous deathmatch
Yeah, you
brackets.
guys-
So it's,
Kill it on Instagram. You guys, you basically publish like full TV shows every week on your stories. It's just
well, that's good
feature
feedback.
length
That's
films
such good
up there.
It is
news.
riveting.
That's great news that you said that. We appreciate that. Wait, real question is, before we get into I want to list some episodes, the latest episodes that you've done, but before we get into that, who did you vote for in the food mascot death match?
Oh, okay.
If you
Well,
remember.
here's the thing. First of all, I am completely down with Uncle Ben. I do think
Yes,
like
the magic
that.
is in the rice,
Okay.
but
Love that.
I also have to say I am not on board with the Jolly Green Giant.
thank you.
Yes. We've been saying
Like-
that for weeks.
Uninteresting.
Yep.
The Jolly Green Giant?
He's
too healthy.
He's just a buffoon, honestly.
What
Yeah.
what does Bradley Cooper say in Wedding Crashers? He's like, "Big tree, fall hard," or something like that. Like that's the Jolly Green Giant when he faces anyone that's not like
Yeah.
little tiny food mascot that's like a centimeter tall.
Who does he have to like food mascot wise though? Who does he have to face like to get that big tree fall hard attached to him?
Oh, the BK King is coming his
BK.
way. I think.
Oh yeah,
the Burger King. I think you're right.
he's my
Oh,
number
my
one
God.
pick. Burger King guy is my number one pick.
Yeah.
I really think he's
Is
gonna go
Wendy in it?
No, Burger King beat her round 1, 2 to
Tough
7
matchup.
seed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tough matchup.
Tough match.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your,
Wendy versus the Jolly Green Giant, I would have paid to see that.
that would be
That's an
interesting
epic
one
battle.
actually. That would be
That's an epic battle.
that'd be a trap game right there. Trap matchup. Who's the dark horse to win it all, Taylor? Who you got?
The dark horse to win it
Yeah.
all? Is Toucan Sam still in that?
No, he lost round 1 also.
Oh, man.
I don't know who he lost to.
I didn't stay up on it enough. That's who I would have said, but apparently I'm not very good at guessing this. Another reason why I don't play fantasy football. This is not my forte.
Oh, you and us
It's
both.
not my category.
Yeah, I wish I didn't, honestly. What a transition. Let's talk a little bit about football. So,
Yeah, let's.
obviously, we
Is
talk
there
about
anything good in football?
Yeah.
Or
Right. So in prepping for this show, I wanted to come on with some just objective good news about football or fantasy football. And I found like hit or miss stuff. Like I found a lot of reports that fantasy football has been really good for increasing like female engagement with football. Like there's tons of women
Definitely.
play fantasy. But then it's also like I saw articles that like fantasy football sort of like sort of dehumanizes players and also forces like fantasy players to sort of ignore their like favorite players' wrongdoings.
Sure.
So there's like gray areas and hazy spots. And then with NFL, obviously the sort of chat right now is the prevalence of CTE.
Yep.
And there's all these studies, like some woman studied 200 brains from football players, and 100 of them were from NFL players, and 99 of them had signs.
Oh my
of
God.
CTE.
99?
Wow.
99.
Jeez.
And so, but this is the thing. They found CTE in like high school football players. So kids that had retired after playing in high school already had symptoms.
Wow.
So it's sort of unfair to put this all on the shoulders of the NFL
Sure.
and be like, this is, when you have college athletes and Canadian Football League players, like when all these people have signs of it, it doesn't seem fair to blame the NFL. But what I want to do today is throw some of the most ridiculous and more thoughtful rule changes that I've seen presented to the football community and amongst a group of lifelong football fans, see how these changes hit you.
I love that.
I'm game. I cannot
That's
wait.
going to hit different.
Okay. So I'm going to try to, I don't know how to rank these, but I'm going to try to start from like least radical to most radical.
Perfect.
So I'm just going to throw them out there and you guys eat them up.
We're in for it. Let's do this.
I'm hungry.
Okay. So like I said, high school players have signs of CTE, so this is happening early. It's not so bad when you're young, but one of the biggest problems with CTE is it doesn't come from like individual hard hits. Like individual concussions aren't the biggest problem. It's what they call subconcussive hits. So it's just like the bounce after bounce after bounce. So one of the proposed rule changes is eliminating tackling completely in youth and high school football.
That's one of the least radical.
It's only going to get worse.
So what happens then if they eliminate tackling? What do you do instead?
That's where it comes to you guys. You're out of my league at this point. I don't know.
Oh, I like
guess
this. We should come up with our own.
It's got to be like two-hand touch plus a kick. You got to like, it's not just two-hand touch. You got to also get a leg in there.
Kick him in the ass.
3 points of contact.
Yeah, 3 points of contact. Yeah, you can't do your head though. It's got to be 3 limbs.
Okay, let's soften that one and say high school football tackling in games only.
Okay.
Player-to-player hits in games only.
That's fair because I think like one of the drill. I never played football. Actually, my parents wouldn't let me.
Same.
Maybe for that very very reason. But the Oklahoma drill that comes to mind. Like it's just one guy versus one guy. You just push together and like whoever beats the other guy and knocks him to the ground. That's in practice all the time. I'm sure there's guys lining up over and over and over again to do that drill. That's a subconcussive hit. If you're not getting a concussion, even worse. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is like you can't simulate gameplay in practices then, which might be difficult. But it's high school football when brains are being primed and morphed into what and still growing. So.
Yeah, I don't see the value added to drills like that anyway. Like, what do you learn? Who's marginally tougher than someone else? I don't know if are they learning anything football related there, or is it just like a dick swinging contest at that point?
I think that's exactly what it is.
Right. But I also wonder to like what extent that's an appeal, to like super testosterone pumped up high school kids that is a valuable maybe part of the release of the game.
Yeah. Or you could
80 or 90% of tackles that you get in football obviously come in practice.
Yeah.
So
right. And it's 6 days out of the week instead of 1 day out of the week for your game day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Bigger, more like sprawling changes. Do you guys remember the Stanley Milgram electric shock psychology experiment?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I forgot his
Love
name.
it.
but
yeah.
It's one of my
Definitely.
top 5 experiments. If you're asking,
One of my 5 favorites.
We got to get
That and
into
the
what your other
Stanford prison
four are.
experiment, just absolute classics. But okay, for listeners that don't know this, basically Milgram found that you could get like a test subject to shock a patient, and when they hit the shock button in the other room, somebody would scream in response to that. And the scream was fake, but the person pressing the shock button didn't know that. And the guy in the lab coat could consistently get the person shocking the victim to shock them to lethal levels just by saying, like, come on, man, it's part of the experiment. And Milgram was like, if you can't see who you're hurting, it's really easy to hurt people.
Yep.
So, NFL, no more face masks.
Ooh.
Oh, kind of like
You have to look everybody in the eye.
Yeah, like hockey almost. I kind of like it.
Wow. So no more.
You guys don't have to like this, by the way. I'm not
Well, okay, so
you guys can hate this.
First of all,
That's okay.
that experiment was deeply cursed.
deeply cursed.
But I think that's I like the intent behind this idea, though.
I just want to see.
But I don't know if when you're playing, if you'll really if you'll have more empathy because you can see.
I think this rule would work for another reason, and it's totally self-preservation. Like, I want to see someone. I want to see who's like the scariest dude in the NFL right now. I guess like Jalen Smith, maybe, just because he's got the mobility over a guy like Aaron Donald. I want to see either one of those guys tackling in a way that doesn't hurt himself, and I don't think it's possible without a face mask.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say some stupid comment like, well, how does the helmet like stay on? And you just put a strap on the bottom, obviously, dumb idiot, Scott.
like those kickers back in the day.
Yeah. But then I was like,
Yeah, the face mask has nothing to do with keeping the helmet on.
that's literally
Even I
nothing
know
to do with it. But the only reason I don't like that is because you can't have like, you remember Calvin Johnson with his like tinted face mask, or like Marshawn Lynch?
The swag.
Those are badass, and
They're out of control. Yeah, they're super sick.
yeah, they're and you can also have like it's like a sunglass. It's sunglasses basically, but those are too sick to get rid of, I think.
How about this? I'm going to take it one step further. No helmets at all.
That'll really
That's
get rid
the
of
next recommendation.
I mean, that's how kids,
next on the list.
That's how you grow up playing football. You remember, Rob, those Catholic school days of kill the man with the ball. Nobody's wearing a helmet then.
Exactly.
That's probably where all
Sean
the-
took a tooth into the Sean took a tooth to the forehead because of that.
Ugh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did the tooth get stuck in your forehead?
arguably not as bad as CTE. though.
Yeah, I'll take
Very
it.
true.
But
I'll take it.
But actually, but for real
Suck it
though,
up.
think about it. If there was no helmets, you'd be a lot more hesitant to like go after somebody really hard, to protect yourself.
That's the most
absolutely.
radical rule change I've heard. No helmets.
Well, there was no helmets in like the 40s when they started playing, and then when they introduced helmets, like fatalities spiked. People started dying. So
Really?
then they tried to make helmets just better,
Yeah. Damn.
right? But like you said, like helmets just make people reckless.
Yeah.
They feel invincible.
Yeah, 'cause
But
the gear-
Actually, helmets are only designed to stop your skull from cracking. They're not designed to stop you from getting a concussion.
Oh my god.
They don't prevent that at all.
Well, the gear and the padding makes you feel like you're indestructible. So then you feel like you can just go and full speed run into somebody, and you're like, oh, it's okay. I got a helmet.
It's
you
fine.
know?
I got a helmet.
Yeah.
Father of the pod, not to derail too much, Neil Johnson had an idea for a disposable helmet that's almost like a combination of styrofoam. It's going to be pretty big. A combination of like styrofoam and like tinfoil.
That is the lamest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
All right, tell Neil that, bro.
I actually might, because I can't. Wait, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
I
You
might not
finish
be doing
this
it justice, but let me. It's a disposable one. You put it on your head. You get a big hit. It's like a crumple zone, like kind of like a NASCAR car, right? It has a big center, and then everything around it is like tinfoil, basically. So it's meant to be crumpled because the base in the middle is not going to get hurt, basically. And then once you get a big hit, dispose of the helmet. You get a new one for the next play.
Get a new one.
Wait, so is this like a? I'm confused. Is this like an afro-sized helmet?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah. That's
did
exactly
Neil
it.
go to Area 51 recently?
He did. September, whatever it was. We didn't go with him, but he was there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I might have
love
totally
that.
butchered it. Sorry, Dad.
The NFL would start to look like you're playing with those like the giant head cheat code activated. All right, this is the last one. This one I feel like warrants a valuable conversation because this actually makes a lot of sense. So the majority of not the big hits, but the subconcussive stuff is happening when linebackers are just like ramming each other all game long. You get like 80 full on like 300-pound man hits a game.
It's nuts.
So this I read in the Wall Street Journal. Somebody said, what if instead of being in the crouch position, linebackers all have to stand upright? Go.
Ooh, this is like, okay, so
it would totally change the game.
I played two games of intramural touch football up at Binghamton. I was a stud. I actually no, I wasn't. I was the diva receiver that only showed up for the playoff game and then got pissed off when I didn't get enough targets. But
Sounds like Antonio Brown.
in order to get the ball, I had to intercept 2 passes because I caught more passes on defense than offense. But anyway, in that league, linemen couldn't use their hands, so they had to put their hands behind their back and kind of like shuffle around. And while it looks super lame, it kind of worked. Like, it kind of makes you have to use like technique, and since you're not like obviously crouching because your hands are behind your back, I'd like to see anyone do that. Like, I could see this actually working because you still have to. Oh, I mean, actually, I don't know if it could because it makes me think of the quote unquote low man wins that every coach barks at their players for their entire life. But I think it might actually work. It just would take a lot of relearning how to play that position.
Yeah.
I think actually, this is the most radical out of the 3 that you told us about, Taylor, but I think this one makes the most sense to me because, like, you ever see the movie Concussion with Will Smith?
I thought about watching it, but I didn't watch it.
So I
know the story, haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So like he he discovered CTE, put a name to it, stuff like that. The first person that he, according to the movie, I'm sure it's the same in real life too. The first person that he studied was Mike Webster, who was the offensive lineman center for the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the day. He had one of the worst cases of CTE ever. And in the movie, Will Smith's character said that's the most violent position because it's, like you said, subconcussive hits constantly. He's juggling 2 sides of the defensive line,
and he has to look down at the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And he's the lowest, right? Because he has to look down at the ball, and he's coming up pretty much 90 degrees, 180 degrees every single play. So honestly, to get rid of like all those subconcussive hits, I think that's the best idea. Out of all the proposed rule changes, it's radical for sure. It's going to change everything, but it's also going to prevent a lot of CTE potentially.
I agree. And it's taking a shift from like brute strength. Well, I guess there's a lot of finesse and skill involved, but like I think it takes more like it's going to take more like tactical skill to be a lineman at that point than just brute strength ramming into somebody, you know?
Yeah, or getting the edge on them from up, down, up.
Yeah.
But it would look weird. It would look weird as hell.
Yeah,
it's gonna look super weird.
Like it would take us like years to adjust as viewers, but I'd be fine with that because then I don't have to worry long term about the guys I've been rooting for on Sundays, which honestly doesn't really sit right with me when I really sit down and think about it.
I think if you don't sit down and think about it, you're like, oh, it's like fun to watch, but it's like present day gladiators back in the day, like what we're watching, essentially.
Yeah. The author of that, who proposed that originally suggested that it would sort of almost entirely eliminate the running game from football, and it would become almost entirely a passing game, which
I like that. I like that too.
I've always preferred from a viewer standpoint, preferred watching like a pass heavy offense.
Definitely. 100%.
People who just have killer running backs and just charge through the middle all the time. But
yeah. Well, I think that even today's NFL is going towards that anyway, with all the rule changes, like to protect the quarterback and like the pass interference calls and really stepping that up, even though there's been so many officiating issues this year. But the league is definitely going towards a passing league. I mean, the numbers, the percentages have spiked, and the viewership is also steadily going up because of that too, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I have to say it's nice that from 3 big football fans that I was not met with just complete outrage toward all these.
No.
I mean, it's nice to know that there is like, you guys are thinking about this and it's under consideration and that there's a certain willingness to change and make sacrifices here and there for what we now know is a pretty big problem.
Definitely. No, and those are. I'm glad this guy's a professional. Does his research, brings in some solid rule changes that I think the NFL should get behind.
Brings in the hot takes that stir debates.
Hot takes.
We gotta get Goodell out of there and get Taylor in there.
Yeah,
Next
seriously.
NFL commissioner.
Oh, you don't need to do
Holler
that.
for commissioner.
Nobody wants that job.
I mean, he makes like I think he makes like
Nobody-
$40 million a year. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
guess
could be
that
worse.
part's not so bad.
Not bad. You can travel to New Zealand all the time. If you want.
Yeah.
Live there for free, basically. No, that's awesome stuff.
Well, guys, thank you so much for having me on. This has been super sick.
anytime,
Thrilled to have this
anytime.
conversation.
Pleasure.
And be thinking about this stuff,
Dude, thank you so much for
especially from
joining.
a part of the world that does not care about football.
No, this has been awesome. I appreciate it, man. And again, podcast is For Goodness Sake, iTunes, Spotify. It's on Instagram. Anywhere there's a podcast, For Goodness Sake, with an apostrophe after the second S. I got to keep on saying that. Taylor Holloran, awesome having you on.
We need more of this.
We need more of this.
Yes, we need to be more wholesome, guys. That's what I've taken away from this.
Honestly, I
It's
was
75
anxious-
and sunny in Washington,
Who
D.C.
knows where?
probably anywhere. I was anxious this morning, and I'm not even just saying this. I swear to God, because I knew it comes out on Mondays. I listened to today's episode. It's called "Let's End the War on Drugs," and just the 15 minutes of like good things. Because I was like, oh God, work sucks right now, and it was like lunchtime, and I was like, I gotta decompress. I took a walk. I listened to it. I was like, okay, I feel better.
My man.
Seriously,
I appreciate that, Scott.
yeah, man, of course.
Yeah, check it out, and good luck. Crowning an official mascot. I look forward to see who pulls it off.
Find us in the channels about it. Keep on voting, man.
Yeah, I will. All right, be good, guys. This has been fun.
Thanks,
You
man.
too. All right, thanks again to special guest Taylor Holloran for joining us. Go check out
Loved it.
For Goodness Sake. I can't wait to listen every Monday because I'm definitely going to need to pick me up after some Sundays like the ones we've been having lately. We're going to start things off with our recap here. Our bad haircut, fantasy regret of the week. And I kind of wanted to spin this a little bit in kind of in honor of the kind of day and the kind of pod we're having. Positivity out there for all you cuties out there. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you trust Tampa Bay? Did you trust Jameis Winston? Did you do it to yourself? Did you draft O.J. Howard?
Yes.
You know what? I've got a solution for you. Turn your league into an individual defensive player league, and then all of a sudden you'll have even more value for your Tampa Bay pass catchers. Chris Godwin, overall wide receiver, like 4 to this point this year? He's going to become.
I think.
He's going to become number 1, or he's going to be even more cemented in that spot when you factor in all the tackles he gets to. All he gets to make when Jameis throws the ball to the other team. My buddy Brad, friend of the pod that I work with, told me maybe the most perplexing statistic I've ever heard. He has O.J. Howard in his individual defensive player league that he does with his family. And O.J. Howard, last week, not this past week, but the one before, got more points for the tackles he made on Jameis Winston interceptions than for his own receptions. So yeah, I mean, just spin that up.
Wild.
To me, this is the bad haircut that unexpectedly winds up working with the ladies. I haven't had that happen to me, but I'm sure it's happened to someone out there, and that's what this is. There's a bright side to everything. O.J. Howard, tackling machine.
I can't believe that actually happened.
It happened.
That's so ridiculous.
He tells me all the time, he's like always wondering, like, because it's hard to predict defensive statistics. So he's always like, wondering, like, oh, should I make this move? And then he came in last week and said, I stuck with O.J. Howard because of the bye week for Darren Waller, and O.J. Howard wound up getting a bunch of points for tackles, and it worked out. So you know what?
Because of Jameis's 7
7 turnovers.
Turnovers.
I think he had like 3 or 4 tackles on those turnovers. So
That is ridiculous.
yeah.
Well, good job, O.J. Howard. You finally did something this season.
And you know what? There's value to be had out there.
Yeah, good spin zone too. That's That's such a good thing you said. It inexplicably works with the ladies, that haircut. It's a good positive spin.
Are you ready to ruin it? Let's cancel somebody, Scott.
Oh, I cannot fucking wait. Where's the cancel button? You know that was easy button?
Yeah.
There should be a canceled that was easy button because it is by far and away, not even close, Will fucking Fuller.
You are heated.
I'm done. I'm so done. I'm so freaking done with that guy. It's not even funny. I'm so done with him. I will never own him again. Ever again.
Oh, welcome to the show, this Will Fuller. I'm still in because I love Will Fuller.
No.
But just, I knew this has been stewing since 1 p.m. yesterday when he was announced out of the game. I mean, this is what you get. Like, you have to know what you're signing up for with Will Fuller. You're signing up for 1 or 2 games a year where he literally wins you the game by himself. And the rest of the time, it's just like, when is this? Like, imagine he had every game like his best games. Like, he has the highest highs of anyone in the entire league. And
the lowest lows.
So,
like 2 drop touchdown passes last week, 1 catch for 5 or 6 yards this week, pulled hamstring that's going to keep him out for 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, no. You must be new here to Will Fuller ownership. That's going to be like an 8-week
Are
injury.
you fucking kidding?
He's done for the year. There's no way. Like, maybe he'll have 1 sighting in like week 13 or 14. Like, but just don't hold your breath with that.
And guess what will happen then? That's like the last week of the regular fantasy season or the first week of the playoffs. And asshole boy will be on the field and get 2 catches for like -4 yards. And you'd be like, oh, I'm going to bench him. And then guess what? The next week, he has 5 touchdown receptions. It's literally what happens with him. It's unreal. It's actually unreal.
Oh,
all right,
Will.
I'm
done. My sweet Will. Good night, sweet prince. I really hope your hamstring heals quickly. And
I hope it does. Genuinely.
I almost traded for him in a couple of leagues, and it didn't wind up working out, and I'm the better for it. So it wound up okay. Another thing that's winding up quite all right with me is our beauty sleepers, because Lamar Jackson is a stud. Austin Eckler is a stud. I've been telling people all along not to panic. He might just be straight up better than Melvin Gordon. Just throwing that out there. Like, overall, like, he's a far superior receiver. He was more than good enough on the ground. Melvin Gordon can't hold on to the ball. He's fumbling. He wants a ton of money, blah, blah, blah. Austin Eckler right now is more valuable to the Chargers than Melvin Gordon. And he's great. He's just a great fantasy asset as well. And Mark Andrews, great tight end. So, loving
for dropped like three balls the other day.
That is true. I mean, Lamar was 9 for 20 passing, so it wasn't pretty through the air, but I mean, maybe a top 3 running player in the league. So I'll take it.
Overall, beauty sleepers are looking nice. Mine are looking better than they were, especially in the beginning of the season. Sam Darnold looks like crap Monday night, but it's the Patriots defense, and out of his control. He looked really good last week. So I'll hang that hat on. But their schedule is like insanely easy the next 6-7 weeks. So I'm buying low on Sam Darnold, if anything. Kalen Ballage got a touchdown, but I'm not putting any stock in it because he's demoted. So whatever. Curtis Samuel having some really nice weeks. Austin Hooper is the number 1 tight end so far in fantasy.
Overall, number 1 tight end. Hell yeah.
Overall. By far, too. And then Devin Singletary has some promise as a rookie, but they just need to give him the ball more.
I'm in.
And yeah,
I just traded for him. I just traded for him. I'm in. I can't wait.
That's right. And then Rob's are,
Matt Breida banged up. That's his only hope. And
yeah, pretty much. Bob Wiley's still out of work.
Oh, Bob. My sweet Bob. Sweet Bob.
My sweet brick.
All right, let's buy the dip. And
BTFD.
This one's a little bit ahead of schedule. I feel like it's a little early in the season for this one, but Buffalo Chicken Dip. One of the most popular football dips, and this is going to be really tough because I actually don't know the best vehicle for consumption. When in doubt, I generally say a nice sturdy tortilla chip is you can't miss, but I'm thinking there might be a better option. I just don't know what it is. So let's discuss Buffalo Chicken Dip, Week 7, Dip of the Week. What do we got?
Not a sturdy one. I will say a very light and oily one for some reason because I've had it before with Buffalo Chicken Dip. And if you don't break the chip, it just like It's like softer when you're chewing it. Like a sturdy one is good for like guac and like maybe some salsas.
Okay.
This is making me hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of hungry too.
That's the point here.
I could take buffalo chicken dip in a different direction and put it on like a mini tortilla. You know, a soft tortilla, and make myself like a little chicken taco if I wanted to.
Ooh, okay.
That's a little bit of a departure from what it's supposed to be used for, but I feel like that'd be good.
Let me ask you about the consistency of this buffalo chicken dip. Like, is it like, what's the base here? What base are we dealing with? Is it cream cheese?
It's got to be creamy.
Yeah, cream cheese. I feel like that's like the normal one, right?
So
what's
like
the other
cream
bases
cheese,
that you could use?
Cream cheese, shredded chicken, and some fucking amazing hot sauce.
Frank's Red Hot,
yeah.
baby.
Okay,
Sponsor
so that's
us.
essentially what we're going through there. Okay,
Yeah,
I mean, what's not to love about that? I would even put that on a bagel.
Wow.
Yeah, I would do that.
On a pumpernickel bagel?
Oh, don't get us started.
Would do.
Would do. You would do a pumpernickel bagel, huh, Rob? Does that have to be moist for you, or can it be
Pumpernickel?
dry?
Wow. It'd have to be moist. It would have to be moist.
Mm-hmm. Also, I know you guys aren't going to like this, but sorry, carrots and celery dipping in buffalo chicken dip.
I was going to say this is probably the only acceptable celery answer here.
Yeah. Thank you.
It actually really makes sense, because if I'm eating celery, the chances are 100% of the time it is smothered in buffalo sauce, and or ranch, preferably both, or blue cheese. So I'm salivating just thinking about this. Actually,
Is that one of the ingredients in buffalo chicken dip? Is either ranch or blue cheese? I feel like it's always blue cheese. No,
I don't know. I feel like it's cream cheese, and then I feel like the blue cheese would be a little too funky for it.
Yeah, good, because I don't think
I think so too.
I might be wrong, but I don't think I've ever had a buffalo chicken dip with blue cheese. I just thought about that, and it's kind of gross. I hope they don't do that.
No, I'm pretty sure it's cream cheese,
All right, good.
which makes it a little bit more palatable.
Definitely. Oh God, yeah. That wouldn't be good at all. Yeah, I'm all for the soft tortilla chip though.
I think we're actually in agreement for like the only time ever on Buy the Dip, because buffalo chicken dip, I think it's an underrated dip. I don't think
it's one of my favorite dips.
I don't think it gets the attention that it deserves here.
Buy the dip on buffalo dip. That's what we're saying. And you know what? It's fitting that we all agree on this episode, because the theme is positivity and seeing the good things.
Wow.
So I'm glad we agree.
I feel
That's what it's all
better
about.
already.
We're buying the dip on life. And I guess we should probably turn back to fantasy at some point, right, Scott? I mean, who was our buy the dip player for this week? I think my Eagles, I'm still waiting for that to come through to fruition. So I'm going to sit this week out, because I'm not looking too great right now.
Just
so
sit
who
the
do you
next
got?
couple plays out there, bud. Marlon Mack. So yards per carry last week against the Texans, or this week rather, was about 2 on the dot. But that team with Jacoby Brissett, we're going to talk about Jacoby Brissett in a little bit, or maybe next episode, because he's just having an insane season and no one's talking about it. It's driving me crazy that no one's talking about it. But Marlon Mack, 18 for 44 this past week. Before the bye was 29 for 132. So he's had some up and downs, but this team is very committed to the run. He's on 119 attempts with a bye week, so he's on pace for almost 300 attempts this season, and that's good enough for at least RB2 production. And you might have an owner that's kind of pissed off, like, he didn't do shit last week, and Jacoby Brissett threw for 4 touchdowns. They're not running it anymore. They definitely are. That's the most well balanced team out there. So I think Marlon Mack is a guy to target this week.
Love that. Love investing in the Colts overall. T.Y. Hilton, somebody that I should have had on more teams, because
Me too.
It's just like seeing him this week, and I'm just keep thinking to myself, like, that's my guy out there, and I don't own him this year, and I almost always do, and
You always
bit
do.
too hard. I bit too hard on the Andrew Luck thing. I thought it was really gonna hurt his value, and honestly, his value is better now than it ever has been, except for like 1 year with Luck.
More touchdowns.
Yeah, more touchdowns. He gets more consistent targets, and
Less tight
he looks
ends.
great. I mean, he is
Steal away.
just... I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NFL. Just throwing it out there, like full stop, every position. He's so good, and he's just so consistently good now that it's really nice to see. I mean, it's just a nice little wholesome development that who could have seen coming, right? Scott, I know it's waiver time, and it's really just handcuff time. Like, I know I said at the top of the pod that I'm going to keep plugging this, but like my waiver pickup this week was Latavius Murray. I owned him. I owned Kamara in 2 leagues. One of them we have a pretty normal sized bench, so I owned Latavius. In our other league, where we have a way too thin bench, I just cut the fat, picked up Latavius, and it wound up paying off in a big way this week. That should be a lesson to us all. Go pick up your handcuffs. Or if you know someone's banged up, go pick up the handcuff for someone else's player and then just extort them and enjoy the fact that you have all the control over your friends and get something out of a deal with them, because cuff blocking, it should be done at this point of the year. You should go do it.
Yeah, I have David Johnson in 2 leagues. I have Chase Edmonds in 3. I picked him up 2 weeks ago.
You dog.
I put him on the story on Tuesday, and I was like, as I was putting him on the story, I was like, I'm going to pick this guy up tomorrow. And this is like week 3 or 4. And of course I didn't play him this week, because why would I play him when he's not the starter technically? But that didn't work out for me. But if I did, whatever. I'm not gonna. It's just gonna upset me more that I played David Johnson in 2 leagues and I didn't play Chase Edmonds in 3. But Jamal Williams is another guy. Alexander Madison, pick them all up. Darrell Henderson.
I mean, I would even say, like, even if like you're a Leonard Fournette owner, like, go pick up his backup, because at some point some of these guys are going to get nicked up, and just be ready and waiting. There's no point in rostering, like, this is the guy I cut for Latavius. You ready? Ronald Jones. There's no point in rostering that guy. He brings nothing to the table. At best, you're going to start him in a desperation flex with 3 guys on bye, and you could probably do better at that point with just a random person off the waivers. So cut the fat. I know it's early, but cut the fat and go pick up the handcuffs. Another handcuff to pick up down the road, Kareem Hunt. It's not too early to start rostering him if you have the space. Something to keep in mind, because that's our shrewd move, I think, for this week is Kareem Hunt. He's going to be back. I mean, we have yet to see what his role is, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield. I know Nick Chubb can also do that, but I mean, all of a sudden now they're probably the 2 most consistent players on that offense, so go for it. Why not?
I agree.
There's Scott picking him up as we speak, trying to snag him away.
No, another shrewd move I was going to say is pick up the backups to or guys on teams that are on bye. So I did that last week with Benny Snell, because the Steelers were on bye, and I have James Conner, and he was hurt. And on the mobile app, it doesn't show up as they're projected anything because they're off.
Hell yeah.
So you literally like can't find them in the projections, and no one's going to dig deep enough to like find them. So this week in week 8, Baltimore Ravens and Dallas Cowboys are on bye. So Tony Pollard is a pickup. Justice Hill or Gus Edwards are pickups potentially.
I can't believe you're sharing that tip, because I do the exact same thing, and I didn't want to share it.
Yeah,
I didn't want to say it.
I've been doing it for a year and a half now, or 2 years or something. I was like, oh, it's so smart. Like, these people are so stupid, not doing it.
You just almost sound like Lola from Big Mouth.
Wait, from what?
Really smart.
Really smart. We got it. All right, Thursday Night Football. You know what time it is. We're going to try to find the positive in this matchup, but it is a very brutal matchup. Redskins at Vikings. Little game for Case Keenum and Kirk Cousins go back and forth here.
Ooh.
Revenge games for both of them, correct? They were both on these other teams.
I think Kirk wants to stick it to his old team a little bit more. Just a tiny bit more. That might be the biggest, I mean, outside of like Antonio Brown and the Steelers, like and the Raiders, that's like the most bad blood between one player and an organization, I think, in the league. And,
rightfully so.
And yeah, rightfully so. I think if we're looking at the positive side here,
nice.
I love the Vikings atmosphere. I love that home field. They got the skull chant. They got the Viking horn that sounds. And we're going to hear quite a bit of it this week, because they're going to crush the Redskins. Every player on that offense, I would start. I know Thielen's banged up, so that makes Diggs even more reliable. He's starting to turn it around, and this could be exactly what he needs to be a consistent fantasy producer. Dalvin Cook is a top 2 running back, if not the number 1 running back at the moment. And even Kirk, I'd play him this week because there's going to be a lot of juice in that building.
Yeah. Last 3 weeks, Kirk Cousins, he's had 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, and an average of about 315 yards. So he's looking like, once he said sorry to his teammates for sucking and stealing money from the Vikings franchise, look better. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Terry McLaurin, tough schedule coming up. He has the Vikings this week, Bills next week, bye week, Jets, Lions, Panthers, Packers, Eagles, Giants, Cowboys. So it gets better at the end. That's a really brutal schedule coming up for a rookie with 3 different quarterbacks potentially throwing in the ball. So he's a sit for now. Vikings are favored by 16, and the over-under is 40. So, having said that, we're going to give some statistics and little like nuggets here for each game, so including Thursday night and then next episode. Since 2013, the Redskins have played a total of 22 night games. Remember, this is Thursday night. And they've gone 5 and 17, both straight up and against the spread. For this season, they're 2-5 against the spread, which is tied for 3rd worst mark in the NFL. And the Vikings been one of the safest home bets in the NFL over the past few years. Past 20 home games, Minnesota's gone 16-4 straight up and 15-5 against the spread. So I'm taking the Vikings in this one. It's a lofty -16, and I think I'm going to take the under 40. I think the Redskins are going to score like 1 touchdown.
Yeah, we're chalk there. I'm in total agreement. In general, I don't like to I wouldn't say bet unders, but
right.
Thursday night unders are the way to go, especially with offensive teams that are inept at scoring the ball. The Redskins are definitely in that category. And the Vikings have been in that category at times. I don't think they're going to have any trouble this week, but this could very easily be like a 27-0 game by the end of the game. So I totally agree. I like the Vikings at home, even though they're laying 2 touchdowns. And I'll take the under as well. I think that's a really smart play. And this is a game I would not hesitate to drop some money on if you are a gambling man, because look, there's not many sure things out there, but betting against the Redskins, yeah,
that's a sure thing.
It's a sure thing.
That does it for Week 7 recap. Big, huge thank you, Taylor Holloran, for goodness sake. We've said it a bunch of times. We're trying to get the good vibes over to you cuties. Download it, subscribe, put a rating in there, put a review, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. For goodness sake, we had a great time with him, and hopefully we get a recurring guest if he's open to it.
Love that. And don't forget, tune in on Thursday. It's time, It's time to whittle 8 down to 4. We're going to crown the winner of each bracket this week and create a Final Four. And I really hope all of you band together out there to take down the Jolly Green Giant. Let's make this thing happen.
Do it together.